Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maureen O'Connor from Quilters Heaven in Northbrook, Illinois, and I am the Opinionated Quilter. Today's episode, number 119, is Make Something Beautiful from Someone Else's Garbage. Stay tuned for the winner of last week's giveaway and the announcement of this week's giveaway. I've told you before that many people come in and drop off leftover quilting supplies, scraps for our dog bed stuffing bags, donations of fabric for anybody who will use them and love them. We recently got a bag of scraps that the donor gave me for the dog bed stuffing bag. I looked in it and it had beautiful fabric in it, even though many were small pieces. I took a picture of the pile of scraps and we're going to put it on the screen here. So I looked at these scraps and I said, I can't put them in the dog bed stuffing bag. I need to make something with this. So I went to my go-to, my world's greatest scrap quilt. It uses the smallest number of pieces, I shouldn't say number of pieces, the smallest size pieces. It goes from 1.5-inch squares to the largest piece being 4.5 by 1.5. Typically, I pull scraps that coordinate like these behind me. This is a typical thing that I've done. I had a pile of scraps left over from fat quarters from a donation pile, and I filled in with some looks like solids, reads like solids, so that it wasn't all prints, and made this small baby quilt, baby toddler, something in that neighborhood. This one here, I just went through and pulled black and white, blues, grays. This is a combination I've done many times. Juanita, who used to work here many years ago, made a quilt using this combination, and I liked it so much that I've used it several times over the years. I find it makes a great boy quilt. I mean, girls can love it too, but when you're trying to stay away from pinks, this is a great color combination. So I started cutting the pieces, and it seemed like I just wasn't making progress cutting. And I really wanted to start sewing, but in this quilt, I really like to have all my pieces cut before I start sewing, which is not always the way that I work, but it's only to ensure that the fabrics are evenly distributed throughout the quilt. And finally, it dawned on me, why not use a stripology ruler? I don't know why it took me so long to figure this out, but if I laid my strips, now, first of all, in the 4-inch block, finished, 4.5 cut size block, you can get 2 blocks out of 1 width of fabric strip, or did I say 1 or 2? You can get 2 out of a full width, 1 out of a half a width. So I said, if I cut at the 4.5 mark on my stripology ruler, the 8-inch mark on my stripology ruler, 10.5, 13, 14.5, 16, 17.5, and 19, that would give me my 4.5-inch piece, 3.5, my 2.5s, and what am I missing? There's only 4 1.5s here. I need 1 more 1.5. And as long as your strip is at least 20.5 inches after you've cut off the selvage, don't forget to cut off the selvage, people. I find them in quilts I quilt all the time. You don't want those in your project. But if you have 20.5 inches, you'll have enough left over to cut the last block. Let me show you how. I've lined up strips and I've used the lines on my cutting mat to try to keep them straight. They won't be 100% perfect, but they're definitely close enough to make a scrap quilt. So I've got 4 layers. If you feel comfortable cutting more, go ahead, stack yours higher. I've got 4 layers and I've got 5 sets of strips. So this will be 20 blocks. And watch how fast this goes. I first have to cut at the 0 because that cuts off that salvage. Oops. Let's get that in there better. There we go. So now the salvage is off. Now I go to 4. Oh, terrible. 4.5. That would have been bad. 4.5. Then 8. And after 8 is 10.5. And actually, Gudrun Erla, who makes this ruler, does have stickers that you can put on here so you remember. I just actually made a little post-it note that I keep looking at as I go across to make sure I don't do anything wrong. So after 10.5 is 13. And then 14.5. And after 14.5 is 16. 17.5. And then 19. And then I go ahead and lift my ruler up, get rid of the salvages. That will go in the dog bed stuffing bag. Yeah, I'm going to have to replace these that I cut wrong. So, like I said, be sure you don't cut wrong. Here's my 3s. Here's all my 2s. And then we get the 1s out of the way. 1.5s, I should say. And I would do this for the rest of these. And then you simply take your regular ruler, put it on the 1.5 mark. And actually, these are big enough to get another 1.5 out of. A lot of times you just only have, enough just to get your last 1.5. These were half a width of fabric strips, so there's no fold there. But on this one that there was a fold on, I can get another 1.5 out of this. So I need to replace 4.5s, and I can actually make these 3.5s and then just cut to replace these to keep my numbers even. But in all the ones I did for this whole next quilt, I did not make a mistake cutting. But of course, on camera, you do. It happens. So that's just how fast you can cut 20 blocks. You don't have to belabor one at a time. Don't forget to pull out your stripology ruler. I'm also going to use my stripology ruler to cut the pieces for that County Clare quilt we did last week. I'm still making my strip sets, but once I get them done, I will pull that out and use it. And one note, people say, I don't want to spend the money on this ruler because it's expensive, and it is expensive, but you can use it all the time. I would rather have you, well, it's your quilting dollar, so I shouldn't have worded it that way. I think it's a much better investment to spend your quilting dollar on a tool that will make your cutting far more efficient, that you will use maybe not every day, but at least every week, rather than purchase a layer cake or a jelly roll that sits on your shelf for 5 years, 10 years, and then you donate it because you're downsizing. I just think, in my opinion, it's a better use of a quilting dollar. But again, that being said, you get to decide how you spend your quilting dollar. Anyway, it makes it so fast and easy. Let me show you what I made with that pile of scraps. This is it. This is what I made with the scraps destined for the dog bed stuffing bag. I'm quite pleased with it. It is 60 by 72. It's 270 blocks. It's 2,430 pieces, and boy, did I have fun sewing it. This World's Greatest Scrap Quilt pattern, remember, it's the only pattern that I've ever found that you can make without having to add something to it. You don't need to add a border. All you have to add is a backing and a batting, if you so choose. We will have a link to the pattern in the description box below, but I just go to this one over and over again. There's so many scrap quilts. Well, you have to get 2 2/3 yards of a background or whatever, or you just don't have enough of one particular fabric or one particular color. In this, I mean, like I said, I usually choose fabrics that go together. This was in one bag from one customer for our dog bed stuffing. So you've heard me say before that I think crumb quilts are ugly, and this is my proof. We had another donation from a customer who's moving, and in one of her donation bags, and there's more blocks than this is all I could fit on the bulletin board, were these crumb quilt squares. And she clearly disliked them enough that after making them, never put them together. So they ended up in the donation bag, and they will get into the dog bed stuffing bag. But at any rate, if you had a bunch of scraps, would you choose to make this, or would you choose to make this? Now, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and you can vote in the comments that you like this better if you do. But I personally, I'm voting, I'm picking this one. But that's the episode for now. We do have to announce our winner of this last week's giveaway. Our winner of the Fat Quarter Bundle is Kathy Babnick 7326. Please send me your mailing address information to quiltersheaveninc@gmail.com, and I will get it out to you. Last week I said I didn't have another quilt ready to give away, and I went back through the piles, and I'm giving one away today that hurts a little bit because I really, really like it, but it fits in with the theme that we did today. It's a World's Greatest Scrap Quilt. This is the 8-inch block made with 2.5-inch strips, and I just love this. But many of my 2.5-inch strip, I shouldn't say 2.5-inch strip, many of my World's Greatest Scrap Quilts turn out looking like this because this is the color fabrics that I like, and this is what I buy, and this is what I use, so this is what I have scraps of. So I absolutely love this. So I really hope that someone wants it and will finish it and love it. It's a good sized one. It's 7 blocks by 9 blocks, which means it's 56 by 72. It does not have a border on it. If you like borders, go ahead and add one to it. But if you'd like this quilt top, you know what to do. Subscribe to my channel, put a comment in the comment section, mention World's Greatest Scrap Quilt, and subscribe to my channel. Oh, I already said that. Like the video. So that's this week's video. Until next time, happy sewing.